In a small town where secrets lurk in every shadow, Zoe's life is about to take a turn for the bizarre. With a family of rugby, playing brothers and a mysterious biker werewolf by her side, she's about to discover the true meaning of pack dynamics. Part 56. Warner Roderick raises an arm, regaining control of the crowd. Ignorance does not excuse your actions, he announces. Let this be a warning, and be thankful you face a challenge, rather than a trial. My brother makes a slow circle, including all gathered in his cautioning. When his gaze sweeps over me, I realize his eyes have gone full black. Their depths seem unfathomable, cosmic, terrifying. Note to self: remember to never piss off a pack leader. The challenge ends on a forfeit or a knockout. Shifting is prohibited. Commence. Roderick steps back, clearing the space between Ross and me. Enthusiasm, in my day-to-day life. I tease people, not in a malicious manner. My goal is always to make others smile, get them to laugh. Most times I'm playful, dancing around important topics, rarely speaking in a fully serious tone, so people don't tend to take me seriously. Even with all the lead up to this challenge, I can tell from the unhurried way Ross raises his arms that he still doesn't believe I can be anything different from the Joker he's always known. I hit fast, wide eyes taking the fist heading for his face. Maybe if Ross had expected me to fight with ruthlessness, he'd have been prepared. He would have been ready to block. Despite having the same supernatural speed as I do, he's half a sec and late. The bone of his eye socket makes impression on my knuckles as a meaty thwack echoes through the clearing. Thing is, werewolves are good at taking hits. While my punch would have laid out a human man, Ross only gives his head a quick shake before lunging at me. He goes low, trying to knock me off my feet, get me on the ground, on my back. But I dig in, bending forward and pushing back, and I use the position to pound on his ribs. As we grapple, the surrounding pack members call out encouragements and jeers and advice. Keep your hold on him. Go for the knees. That's a mean punch. Rip his balls off. Courtney's cheer rises above the rest. Without warning, Ross releases me, shoving my body away from his violently. The sudden shift has me briefly off balance. Just enough time for him to land a blow to my gut first, then my jaw. I stumble back a step. Roderick's warning flashes in my brain, and my arm shoots up in time to block the leaping roundhouse. If the blow had hit my skull, it would have been a knockout for sure. I'm able to grab hold of Ross's cuff and use the man's momentum to fling him over my shoulder. He hits the ground hard, but I don't let him have a moment to recover his breath. Every second counts. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That's what he called her. The word pounds in my furious mind as I leap onto my packmate's chest and Dane blows at his head. His arms protect his skull as best they can as frustrated snarls pour from his throat. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If you don't keep her on a leash, I will. You touch her. I growl the words as I rain down on him with my fists. I'll kill you. I swear it. The threat comes out on my adrenaline-fueled pants. My voice is low, monstrous. Unfortunately, speaking must have slowed me down a split second because Ross is able to snatch my wrist and wrench it to the side. In that opening, he lunges up, delivering a brain-rattling headbutt. Black spots flicker in my vision, messing me up enough for Ross to heave my weight off him. We both end up back on our feet, fists raised, eyes wary. The tang of iron fills the air. Blood seeps out of a gash on Ross's forehead and cheek. I can feel my own spilling from a cut on my brow, threatening to blind me. As we circle each other, I catch sight of Roderick just over my opponent's shoulder. He meets my eyes, his mouth forming to words. Finish it. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. He knows. I've only been playing with Ross. Each one of my hits has been a few centimeters away from a point that could send the man into unconsciousness. Because I didn't want him to black out. I wanted him to hurt. To know that if he comes for Zoe, this is just a taste of what he'll get. Still, Roderick is right. The fight needs to end. If only so I can go be with her. The grass is cool under my feet as I slide forward. Feigning to the right. He leaps, trying for the high ground. But I'm not afraid to go low. Dropping to the earth. I roll under his legs and rise up again behind him. Before Ross has time to land and turn, my body is already in motion. Using his move against him, I swing my leg high, the force behind it brutal as a hammer. He turns as if we choreographed the move together, placing his jaw exactly where I planned on it being. My foot hits the perfect spot, and his body crumples. Ragged parts push and pull from my chest, the only sound in the woods with everyone else having gone quiet. Roderick strides up to the fallen wolf, using the toe of his boot to flip the guy over. We can all hear the air trickling in and out of his slack mouth. Knockout. Warner wins the challenge. If Ross commits the same offense again, he will stand trial. Everyone gathered knows what that means. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Not even the most powerful of the Jameson brothers took the man down this quickly. No way would he stand a chance against Roderick. A trial would mean the wolf's death. A few of Ross's friends come to collect him. Even though his face still pisses me off, I hope he'll take this loss with grace. Mainly because I want Zoe safe, but also because my brother shouldn't have to deal with idiots with death wishes. But our pack hasn't had a trial in decades. Even Ross wouldn't be arrogant enough to stumble into one. Not after I just handed him his ass. Part 57's Zoe by time Warner cuts off his bike. I'm already half without clothes. Living a mile away from the nearest neighbor has its perks. It means I can open the front door wearing nothing but a bra and panties without scandalizing the gossip mongers in the small town. I need this. Touch. Comfort. Connection. Maybe combating the darkness with sex isn't the healthiest method, but at least I'm not drinking myself into oblivion. The front lawn is shadowed, but I can still make out Warner's from as he dismounts. And I can see the way he stumbles to a stop when he takes me in. Next thing I know, the werewolf is running toward me, a triumphant howl ringing from him. The sound has me shivering in anticipation. Warner tackles me in the gentlest manner. He scoops me up in his arms and uses his momentum to carry us both into the house. My arms circle his neck, and my legs wrap around his waist, clinging as I laugh at his enthusiasm. Nothing is better than seeing you waiting for me like this. He rumbles the words with his face pressed into my hair and kicks the front door shut with the heel of his boot. Disturbed from his nap, Bruce gives an exasperated huff before trotting back toward the guest bedroom he's claimed as his own. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You like me without clothes on. I never would have guessed. I can feel myself grinning as I move to meet Warner's eye. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I can't. He keeps his head turned away as he walks around the cabin with me in his arms. And for some reason, he seems bent on shutting off the lights. Don't bother with those. I didn't wear my cutest set of underwear only to hook up with Warner in the dark. Plus, I made sure to use ice packs on my eyes to get rid of the puffiness from my earlier sub-fest. I'm setting the mood, he murmurs against my ear. I shiver again. Still, there's tension underlying his words. The same bit that has all the muscles in his neck tightening. My first assumption was that it was sexual. But now, I'm not so sure. When the only light in the cabin is the almost full moon peeking through a slit in the curtains, Warner finally turns his head to kiss me. His mouth is ravenous. his tongue eager. The werewolf stands in the middle of the main room, clutching me to him, devouring my mouth as if I'm the reason he can breathe. When we finally break apart, he gasps out one question. Couch or bed? Couch, I declare. But also, it works better with my plan. Just because my mind begs to get lost in the passion of Warner's kiss doesn't mean I'll give in to the urge. Something is wrong, and I'm going to find out what. I assume you want me on bottom. His tone half humorous, half pleading. Glad that you're learning. My voice is all huskiness. And Warner responds to it eagerly. He walks around to the front of the couch, settling us on the old cushions, him laying back while I straddle his waist. I'm tempted to lean down and kiss the hell out of him, but I can't. Before he realizes my intention, I reach for the lamp on the table beside the armrest and flick on the light. His body goes taut under me, and when I blink to adjust my eyes, I see why. Warner's eyebrow has a nasty gash through it, and his face is bruised. He winces and avoids my eyes, but that doesn't stop me from wrenching up his shirt to find even more discoloration on his torso. Where did all of these bruises come from? My words come out ragged with worry. He's riddled with injuries. Did you have an accident at work? It doesn't matter. He'll be healed in a few hours. Warner pries his shirt out of my hands, pulling it down to cover himself. It does matter. What happened? When did it happen? You weren't messed up like this when we went out to lunch. Zoe. He groans my name, sitting up to bury his face in my neck and wrap his arms around my waist. The hold presses us tight together, which normally I would enjoy, but now I can't examine his injuries. He starts kissing my skin, causing goosebumps to prickle all over my body. The sneaky animal is looking to distract me. I'm not having any of it. My fingers comb into his hair, as if I'm giving him a normal gentle caress. Then I fist my hands, grabbing hold of the roots and directing his head back until Warner meets my eyes. He pants, lust clear in his gaze. He likes when I take charge, when I get a little rough. Warner. His name comes out of my throat in a sultry murmur, and his eyelids flicker at the sound. What do I want? I almost smile at the hopeful note in his voice, but I keep the humor off my face, instead giving his hair another tug before leaning down to bite his bottom lip. He groans, deep in his throat, and his erection grows hard under my ass. What do I want? My tone is more demanding as I repeat the question, with his head pulled back. I can see the way he swallows. I can watch the tensing then relaxing of his jaw. After a moment he sighs in defeat. You want to know what happened to me? My grip relaxes, and I use the pads of my fingers to massage his scalp and place to his lip to soothe where I bit him. You don't have to tell me. I watch Warner's eyebrows rise in disbelief before I clarify. But if you don't, I'm going to ask you to leave. His embrace tightens again as wide eyes search my face. Maybe it's unfair that I'd be fine with a friend like Juliet keeping her secrets from me, while I demand that Warner share his or get out. But Juliet wasn't covered in bruises, and the rules of friends change when you're whatever Warner and I are. Part 58 Zoe. I got into a fight with another wolf. Warner admits. Werewolf. Or wolf. Werewolf. Why were you two fighting? Warner grimaces before resting his head on my shoulder. Because he would have hurt you if I hadn't. Cold trails through my veins at his words, and I give an involuntary shiver. Could you elaborate on that? Warner loosens his hold only to rub his hands up and down my back. The move is soothing, but I can't yet give up all the tension thrumming through me. My eyes flit to the dark window, wondering if I'll see the face of an animal on the other side of the glass. It was Ross, the asshole from my work. You insulted him, made him look stupid. Some of my fear gives way to anger. Good. That was the point. Warner lifts his head to offer me a thin smile. His warm palms cut my cheek, and he trails his thumb over my lips. And I loved watching you talk circles around him. But my kind doesn't take insults lightly, and we hold grudges. When I got back, he made some more comments, and I knew things weren't over. Not in his mind. Warner's hold becomes firm, as if he's desperate to keep me in place. I knew that if Ross ever came across you again, there was the real possibility he might hurt you. So you fought him. Warner nods. Werewolves are territorial. We'll get violent to protect what's ours. Especially if it's someone we care about. Is that what I am? I don't voice the question. Not sure I want to hear the answer. But, how does you to fighting solve anything? Did you kill him? I hesitate because this is another answer I'm not sure I want. No. I swear. Warner presses a kiss to my forehead. So gentle that I have trouble imagining him getting violent with anyone. Think of it like him and me. I just knocked him out. We weren't even in wolf form. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I've never been a fan of the sport, but at least I have a mental image. Still, what's to keep Ross from hurting me in the future? It's a dominance thing, and a warning. He knows that if he hurts you, I'll come after him. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If he comes after you, he'll face punishment from the pack. Warner grimaces, obviously realizing he's not explaining the situation well. I think you need to tell me more about werewolves. Do you all have different rules than humans? Do I have to follow those rules when we're together? Warner tilts his head as he ponders my questions. We do. Have different rules. That is. And we monitor ourselves. The Pine Falls Police Force doesn't have jurisdiction over the pack. And they know it. That's disconcerting. His lips pull tight before he shrugs. In some towns, with other packs, it would be. But our pack leader is Woodrick. You'll never meet a more honorable guy. And if anything, he holds us to a higher standard than any human laws would. I think back on my brief interaction with the stoic werewolf. He was intimidating, but reminded me of my older brother Bran, one of the most honorable men I know. Maybe werewolf law isn't the worst thing in the world. Problem is, it's hard to follow rules I haven't learned. And do I have to meet these standards? Since we're hanging out. Now Warner stares at me with intensity. Hanging out. No changing the subject. Especially to a topic I'm not ready to discuss. Am I going to get challenged to a cage fight? The werewolf relaxes back on the armrest, his gaze tracing over me, finally admiring my lingerie. No, but if you piss off werewolves, I might have to fight a few more on your behalf. Guilt and annoyance swore in me. So your injuries are my fault. Which had gone heavy as he looked at my body, widens and jumps to my face. No, Zoe. This is all Ross. He needed to be put in his place. Even if you hadn't set him down, I still would have called him out just for the way he came onto you. Still, this seems to come back to me, and I don't like the circular way our conversation is going. I take advantage of Warner's willingness to share. To ask another werewolf question. Do you live forever? His smile returns. He smiles so easily, and I enjoy the warm glow of his good humor now. We heal faster, so we live longer, but not by much. Maybe 10 more years to our average life expectancy. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And how are werewolves made? Lack of birth control, but surprises a laugh out of me. But I clench my teeth down to stifle anymore. Warner gives me his cheek-iced grin as his callous palms drag up over my exposed snap. When he reaches the lacy cups of my bra, his thumbs tease at the material and I feel the heat of his touch through the fabric. My nipples tighten, and he gives a satisfied hum in the back of his throat. Then I notice 2 things. The first is an obvious hardening under my butt. The second is a blackness that seeps out from his pupils, erasing the lovely brandy color of his irises. The change is fascinating. I find myself leaning forward, cupping his cheeks to hold him in place so I can watch it happen. Why do your eyes do that? Turn black. Warner blinks. Emotion. If a wolf is enraged, or aroused, he leans up to nip at my nose before dropping his head back to the armrest. It shows our animalistic nature is coming out. It also happens right before a change. I jerk back. You're not going to change in the middle of sex, are you? The werewolf laughs at that but stifles the amusement when he spots my frown. No, don't you worry. As long as it's not the full moon, I have complete control over when I change. But also, when I'm in wolf form, I don't deal with sexual urges. That's all on my human form. All the wolf cares about is your safety. Good to know. I smirk down at him. A sudden tug on my wrist pulls me forward until my face is flush with his. When my hair falls around like a brown curtain, I feel safe from the world. Where wolf rules and human rules drift away. Warner gives another tug until I'm close enough for him to bury his head in the crook of my neck. I hear the deep inhale he makes, and the sound piques my curiosity. What's up with you always sniffing my neck? Are you planning on chomping down? That seems like vampire territory. Warner chuckles and licks my quickening pulse. It's one of your warm spots. Warm spots. His nose trails over the skin, teasing me until I carp squirming in his hold. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Your scent is stronger here. Drives me crazy. His teeth pinch me, but so gently that all I can do is gasp. You said spots. Where else? Hopefully he's not about to shove his face in my armpit. Warner unhooks my bra and slides it off my arms before pressing his nose between my breasts. He licks my skin, and a shaking starts deep inside me. Strong hands trail down my spine and over my thighs until his fingers press into the soft flesh at the back of my knees. This is another. You want to sniff my... Despite my rising arousal, I can't help snorting out a giggle. Against my chest I can feel Warner smile. But then his fingers reverse their journey until they find the center of me. This is probably my favorite. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And he starts to leisurely stroke me, which means I'm back to writhing against him. Memories of our previous encounter flash through my mind. Half of me wants to repeat the experience move for move, just to ensure the same mind-shattering result. But the other half of me wants to come up with new avenues to pleasure. Suddenly, I realize my oversight. Last time, I treated Warner like a human man. I didn't even consider the possibilities that come along with his supernatural status. How strong are you? Part 59's OE. My mind is occupied by a debate over the font choice for a client's website when I pull up to the cabin. The mental back and forth has me so distracted. I don't realize I've parked next to another car until I remove the key from the ignition. What the hell? Enthusiasm. In the weeks I've been in Pine Falls, my only visitor has been Warner. But tonight is the full moon, so he's ridden off with his pack to go howl at the night sky and run around without clothes in the woods. Or whatever they all do. Tonight, I'm on my own. Or at least, I was supposed to be. Any other day, I might have guessed that the visitor is Juliet. Only, I just left the library, and she was halfway through a shift at the reference desk. The mystery is solved the minute I climb out of my truck and get a glimpse of the SUV's bumper. More specifically, the bumper stickers pasted all over it. Rugby, no helmet. No pads. Just balls. Happiness is a good ruck, support your local hooker. Play rugby. And the last one, my favorite. Be kind to animals. Kiss a rugby player. My brothers are here. And if I had any last bit of doubt, it's blown to pieces by a shout from the front porch. Baby sister. You're alive. Carver, the most enthusiastically affectionate of my four brothers, comes barreling down the stairs and across the yard toward me. Soon, I'm wrapped in a bear hug, being swung around like a well-loved rag doll. Don't break her. Abram, the oldest of us all, scolds. When Carver sets me down, Abram gives me a gentle but firm hug, then passes me off to Byron for the same. Donovan is satisfied with ruffling my hair affectionately. What are you all doing here? I stare around at their familiar grinning faces, not realizing until this moment just how much I miss them. Carver drapes his arm over my shoulders and turns me toward the house. You sounded lonely when you called, and we were tired of waiting for you to come back to Denver. We came to help you finish with the cabin. Abram explains. But you all have jobs that, require you to be at them. I'm the only one in the bunch who doesn't have the typical 40-hour work week. Abram is a district manager for a tractor supply company. Carver is a physical therapist. Byron works at a music shop repairing instruments. And Donovan works as a cybersecurity analyst. Bunch of stand-up guys who shouldn't be playing hooky from their well-paying jobs. It's called vacation time. Ever heard of it? Carver knocks on the front door, which sets Bruce to barking. We've been waiting outside forever. Unlock the door. I roll my eyes and fight a smile at his whining. If I had known you were coming, I would have left you a key, but then we wouldn't get to see your dumbass surprised look. Carver offers. I do not look like a dumbass ever. I always look like the smartest of asses. I shove my brother through the now open front door as he laughs. So this is Grandma Minnie's place. Byron is the next in, and he moved to the center of the room, turning slowly to observe every angle. I look at the cabin with new eyes, seeing it how my brothers see it. The space isn't hugely different than when I first arrived. All the furniture is pretty much the same, other than the upgrades I've made to them. I realize that despite my idea to potentially sell the pieces once they were refurbished, I haven't looked into any options for that task. I simply made everything look better, then arranged the furniture how I preferred. As if this is my place. The thought sends a spike of panic through me. I've been settling in, getting comfortable here, turning this cabin into an introvert's hideaway. What still needs getting done? Have you talked to the local realtor? Abram starts flicking light switches, as if he thinks he's going to find a dud, like I would let myself live in darkness. Unfortunately, that isn't an unreasonable assumption based on how they last found me. No, I haven't. I guess I thought Mom would do that, since she's technically the one who owns it. Donovan silently wanders around the space, eyeing my handiwork. Then we just need to make it ready for sale. Abram says we. For the first time since I realized the car parked outside was Carver's, I resent my brother's surprise visit. I've spent weeks working on this cabin, and now they're here to speed things along, rush me through to the end. This is my project. I wanted to go at my pace, but that's life with the Gunner boys. Say goodbye to my control. Cut 60 Warner. There are no clouds in the night sky, allowing the light from the full moon to spill down and bathe us in her cool glow. My wolf stretches under my skin, as if waking up from a long nap, and waits eagerly for me to take my animal form. I'm eager to once I'm wolf. My thoughts will be less focused. Instinct will take over, and I'll be able to melt into the rhythm of the pack. Thoughts of Zoe will tuck into the back corner of my mind. Worry about leaving her will hopefully dim. There's nothing to be anxious over. She'll be in Pine Falls right where you left her once this night is done. A dark voice in the back of my mind brings out my doubt. Will she though? Things between Zoe and I are good, but they're good in the same way that skydiving is good. All glorious rush and heady feelings, with the hope that once the ripcord is pulled a parachute will deploy and keep me from smashing into a pile of blood, bone, and entrails when I hit the ground. We're falling, and as long as I don't touch the ripcord, I can convince myself there is a parachute. I can tell myself that falling for Zoe won't end in disaster. If you're separated, we meet back here at dawn. Head count is required before we head back to town. Roderick's normally steady voice is broken with a growling quality tonight. The change is gripping him as tightly as the rest of us. A third of the pack is already in their wolf forms. We've gathered in the field behind an abandoned barn. The land is owned by the pack, allowing us to park an entire fleet of bikes and cars here. Not everyone in the pack is a member of the Dark Moon Riders. Roderick said once that he thinks the pack instinct calls to some more than others, and those are the members who join the club. The ones who need that group around them, the one night a month. Prime example of someone who doesn't have any interest in joining, Courtney. She sits on the bed of her truck wearing only a tee, shirt, dress, and probably nothing underneath it. I already have my shirt and pants off. while a good deal of other people are stripping or completely without clothes. Modesty isn't a big thing amongst the pack. How's your lady doing? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My friend would feel the need to talk to me about the one topic I'm trying not to focus on. And at a moment when talking normally isn't encouraged. We're supposed to be connecting to our animal forms, not having a casual chat. Home. Safe. The growling is in my voice. To Courtney, S eyes haven't even turned black yet. Home. You think she's sticking around? Because I can't handle the panic that comes with any other answer. I give the one that will hopefully keep my wolf calm. Yes, shadows caress my skin as attention grows. Courtney grins while she watches. Glad to hear it. I'll have to make more of an effort. I'm past the point where I can ask what she means. A series of painful snaps shudder through my body like dominoes falling. Then my whole view of the world changes. Thoughts blur into a series of feelings and urges while my senses sharpen. I shake off the tingles of left-behind magic, then recognize the call of my pack leader mixed with the tease of Mother Moon. One the simple word infuses my limbs, guiding me to fall and follow. Loose dirt shifts under the heavy weight of my paws as I pick up my pace. We head away from the large machines my human form needs, and let the forest envelope us. Scents flow into me with each of my deep breaths. I want to consume the night, and I can't help the joyful noises that push from my throat and receive responses from those flanking me. Even as the thick branches block out the light of the moon, I can feel her glow on my back. She is glorious, giving off pure energy. My muscles surge with the touch of her magic. My view of myself as an individual blurs until there are only thoughts of us. Thoughts of we. The pack moves as one massive, joyful procession through the night. A scent drifts on the wind, musky and warm. Hunger demands I follow. And I am not the only one. The animal flees from our pursuit, but it does not have the blessing of Mother Moon. Soon I feast on meat, blood dripping and cooling on the forest floor. Zoe would hate this part. The thought is a light caress against my mind that drifts away like a breeze ruffling my coat. My future mate is safe, and I will return to her when this celebration is done. Belly full, I run again, soon mixing in with my pack. We hunt and howl and fulfill a deep need in our souls. The night passes, but I do not count the seconds. Time loses its meaning, and I give myself up to the wolf. Part 61's Oe. The roar of a motorcycle rumbling down Grandma Minnie's drive has me smiling. Is Dad here? Carver turns to the room, the plate he was half done washing dripping water onto the floor. That can't be him. He has a gig in Boulder tonight. Byron moves to the front window, pulling the curtain open and peering out. Donovan at his shoulder. Looks like some pre-boy biker guy. My younger brother announces, and I try to stifle my snort as I start screwing the caps back on my paints. Some of my humor fades when a Bram stands from his chair. His looming rugby, Bill taking up more than his fair share of the cabin's family room. He stares down at me, his face blank, but I know his protective instincts are firing to life. Like a series of gears he always keeps well. Who is he? He's my so many different words bombard me, that I struggle to finish my sentence. Friend. I don't tend to have wild sex with my friends. Boyfriend. We haven't talked about commitment because that would mean me having to think about the future. Like a werewolf protector. Well, I don't want to give my brothers any reason to think I'm hallucinating. Or that I need protection. Warner. I finish with a hopeless shrug. You're Warner. My brother's jaw tenses. Or does he think you're his? What are you talking about? We stopped in to see Mom before heading out here. She had some interesting things to say about the local biker gang. Abram takes a step toward the door. Holy shit. Did she tell them about the werewolves? What interesting things. I forget my paints. Shoving my chair back to follow my brother. Abram glares at me. The expression doesn't intimidate me, but it does make me worry about what is about to go down. She said these guys aren't like Dad's group. Not just casual riders. She said they make their own rules. That more than half this town is scared of them. not able to refute any of that. Thanks a lot, Mom. A brand clearly thinks the Dark Moon Riders are some outlaw motorcycle club that's smuggling guns and dealing drugs. I want to tell him that they don't follow our rules because they can't. No lawmaker ever took supernatural creatures into account when they were drafting legislation. And yeah, people are scared of them, but not because they terrorize the town. They're scared because the existence of werewolves is disconcerting. If I was sure my mom had told my brothers about werewolves, then I'd make this argument. But it seems like she left them in the dark on that important point, and it's not my secret to share. Zoe. Warner calls from the driveway. I can imagine him staring at the SUV, wondering who my visitors are. Mom also said these guys get possessive when it comes to women, like they think they own you. What the hell? That's not. Heavy boots scrunch on the gravel outside, and Abram turns away from me to pull open the door. I try to follow right after him, but Carver, Byron, and Donovan somehow get there before me. Their massive bodies clog the entryway. I'm not sure if they're keeping me inside intentionally, or if they're just oblivious. Who are you? Even through the wall of gunners, I can hear Warner's voice. Move you OAF. I shove at Byron's back, but he barely shifts his weight, waving me off as if I'm distracting him from an entertaining show. You're the one who showed up here unannounced. Great. He's decided to be Abram the asshole. My older brother has a history of anger issues, but I thought he was dealing with them. Apparently, therapy isn't working. I growl and try to shove Donovan to the side with my shoulder. He smirks down at me before leaning to block even more of the doorway. Where's Owie? A deep warning note twists into Warner's question. Trust my brothers to piss off the most easy-going werewolf in all of Pine Falls. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not that it's any of your business. Abram replies, voice cold. This is quickly turning into an occurrence, and I've had enough. Stupid, overprotective, pig-headed brothers. I muttered to myself as I stomp over to a window. The glass has grown wavy with time, and I still need to clean the panes to see out of it properly. But I'm not looking to wave from a window like a damsel in distress. This requisite is getting out of her backwoods tower. With an angry tug, I swing the window open, then throw my leg over the low sill. Stop trying to start a fight. Abram. All the men scratch that. Boys with their heads in my direction in time to see my toe catch on the windowsill, causing me to stumble onto the porch. I'm just able to keep from falling on my face, or my ass, and I make sure to come up glowering. Warner seems relieved at the sight of me and even manages a tight smile before turning wary eyes back on my brother. Abram stands on the top step, arms crossed. Block his face wearing a foreboding scowl that he still has turned on Warner. Most people would find the sight intimidating. My brother is huge in Ed Wayne, the Rock Johnson kind of way, but Warner is a werewolf. So yeah, game set, and match. Not that Abram knows he's got nothing on Warner. Get back inside. Zoe, mutters my brother. Get your head out of your arse. Abram, I'm yelling. My family can always get me to yell. This is an irrational response, and you three are enabling him. I throw my glare toward the gunners lingering in the doorway. Zoe Warner speaks in a careful, almost soft voice as he holds out his hand. Why don't you come on over here? And I realize that even while he talks to me, Warner keeps his eyes on Abram, as if he's waiting for my brother to make an aggressive move against me. Werewolves are territorial. We'll get violent to protect what's ours, especially if it's someone we care about. Nerves course through me at the memory, and I rush to stand in front of Abram. This is my brother. They're all my brothers. Part 60 to Zoe. Warner gives me a terse nod but doesn't lose any of the tension in his face or body. They're trying to keep you locked up. He continues to use that overly calm voice. Someone might believe he wasn't upset, but I can see his eyes. The normal enchanting amber color bleeds into black. Not good. Angry werewolf is not good. Problem is, I can't think of a way to defuse the situation. If I step toward Warner, I can guarantee Bram will approach. He may even grab me. Warner wouldn't like that. But if I move back toward my brothers, the wolf will think I don't have a choice, that they're trying to keep me contained. And if I decide to say screw you, and sprint into the woods, leaving them all behind, who knows what kind of chaos would erupt. It's while my mind cycles through all these impossible options that I notice Warner's eyes flicker to the side slightly, as if he hears something. A moment later, the grunt of tires disrupts the tension, and Sunshine Yellow pickup truck appears, barreling down the driveway. When it comes to an abrupt stop, I swear he risk walk. The driver's side door flings open, revealing a grinning woman. Courtney has arrived. Looks like I'm crashing a party. Sweet. Today she has on a pair of torn jeans, a simple black sweater, and compared to the beige footwear I've seen her sport, a relatively tame pair of purple cowboy boots. For the most part, she looks like a normal, beautiful woman. That is, if I ignore the chicken she's cradling. What are you doing here? Warner asks. He doesn't sound overjoyed at her appearance, but I'm relieved to hear resignation in his voice rather than the barely restrained anger. I came to give Zoe a housewarming present. She holds up the chicken like we're in the opening scene of The Lion King. The bird writhes in indignation. She doesn't need a housewarming present. Abram's scowl is practically audible. She's not staying. Whatever distraction Courtney's sudden appearance provided evaporates. Warner's eyes seep into black again as he glares over my shoulder. Zoe doesn't need you making decisions for her. This is a side of Warner I haven't seen before. My domineering brother steps around me, practically flexing his muscles in an intimidation move. And I'm supposed to let you do that? Warner scoffs. As if I need you to let me do anything. Courtney bounds up the steps to stand beside me, wearing a delighted smile. If I'd known your place was so interesting, I would have come over weeks ago. I don't have the mental capacity to respond. My brain too focused on how to defuse this situation. Things only get worse when Byron, Carver, and Donovan step forward, leaving behind their spectator roles in order to back Bram up. For against one, Warner will still win. I care about all 5 of them. I don't want anyone getting hurt. The thought pisses me off because they are all being so immature. Bram steps up in Warner's space. You better be happy I'm letting you leave here with your face intact. They're so close, and it's as if the pin on a grenade has been pulled and we're just seconds away from a bloody explosion. There is no doubt in my mind. There will be blood, since my brothers have abandoned the doorway. I'm clear to sprint inside. I search the cabin for some solution to the shitstorm brewing outside. I'm mixing bowl full of soapy water, and the sight of my crafting supplies give me inspiration. I grab the bowl, along with the container I'd set on the kitchen table earlier. Back outside, the men are so wrapped up in making my life decisions for me, they haven't even noticed I stepped away. Zoe's been doing fine making her own choices these past few weeks without you looming over her. Warner snarled, nose to nose with Bram. My brother lets out a hard laugh. Like I'm supposed to believe you and your biker thug friends haven't tried anything. When he lifts his arms ready to shove Warner, I lose my last whinge of hesitation. I step up to the edge of the porch and fling the water from the bowl, taking half a second to admire my accuracy. The wave hits my target their heads beautifully, soaking them both. Hose M down. Girl, I want to see some mud wrestling. Courtney claps me on the back as the 2 men blink in surprise. But I'm not done. Water is too easy to ignore in the heat of anger. Heads up. And they're both dense enough to look my way. They each get a face full of glitter. The sparkles engulf them like a fairy princess bomb went off. Every shimmering bit sticks to their wet skin, clothes, and hair. They've gone from 2 irate, intimidating men to disco balls. They belong in the middle of a pride parade. Carver shoves a fist against his mouth, but it does nothing to suppress his delighted snicker. The noise seems to help Bram recover some of his mental faculties. God damn it. Zoe. He brushes at his arms in disgust. Do you have a lifetime supply of glitter? You know I do. I chuck the empty bowl and container at their feet, still furious despite the hilarious scene in front of me. And I will happily plaster you both in it. Then, if you still feel like fighting, I'll grab my phone and record every ridiculous second. Build a whole website to house that video. Send the link to every person you've ever met. And make sure the entire cosmos knows that you two decided to become glitter gladiators. By the time I'm done my rant, I've reached a righteous volume that practically shakes the trees surrounding the property. Hell, that's some intricate revenge. Courtney whispers to no one in particular. She sounds delighted. Now I snarl at the two of them. Are you going to get along? Abram glares at the ground, still trying to rub away the silver sparkles adhered to his upper half. But it's no use. Glitter is the herpes of the craft world. The silence is broken by a choking snort. For a second, I think it's Carver again. But then I realize the noise came from Warner's throat. The werewolf stares at his hands, flipping them palm down, and then up again. Then he throws his head back, laughing, as if he wasn't just seconds away from brawling. He laughs so hard he has to bend over, clutching his knees. Seeing Warner lose it chips away at my fury, and I fight hard against a smile. Then, faster than any of my brothers were likely expecting, Warner bounds up the steps, wrapping his arms around my thighs and lifting me into the air. He doesn't race away with me as his captive. He twirls us both around, chuckling as he buries his nose against my throat. One of my warm spots. I can feel his breath there, the way he inhales deep. For the moment, I'm able to forget all the worries over decisions I need to make. In Warner's arms, the world seems funnier, not so full of impossible decisions. I clasp his head, tilting his face until eyes of pure amber meet mine. Loving the sight, I press a gentle kiss to the middle of his forehead, sure my lips come away shimmering. All you two are so cute. I could vomit. Courtney skips back down the steps and walks straight up to my oldest brother. Part 63 Zoe. I'm suffocating. The glitter only mildly diffused the tension between Warner and the Gunner boys, so I asked him to give me some time with them. But now, even asleep, my brothers fill the tiny cabin. Carver's snores sneak through the gap between the floor and my door. All four of them must give off a furnace worth of heat because the air around me is heavy and warm, but not a comforting warm. More like the warmth of a blanket being held over my face until I pass out. The thought is me crawling out of my bed, feet quiet on the hardwood floor as I try to catch my breath. Having my own room shouldn't feel this claustrophobic. I need air. Fresh mountain air not made stale by too many bodies exhaling in the same space. Bruce doesn't stir in his dog bed as I cross to the window. I pry it open despite its warped frame. Every inch it rises pairs with the reluctant squeak of old wood against old wood. Still, I keep at the thing until it's close to fully open. Cold air swirls around me, brushing against my exposed arms and making goosebumps prickle in its wake. I pause to listen, both to the soothing sounds of the woods at night, but also to check if my efforts woke my brothers. If even one has stirred, he'll come to check on me. The Gunner boys can't help themselves. They treat me like I'm a baby bird, fallen from its nest. If left alone too long, I'll surely perish, too weak to deal with the cruel world. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My past has given them a reason to worry. I'm not entirely blameless, but that doesn't mean I approve of how close they hover. The thought makes me want to escape. For the past few weeks, this cabin has felt like a refuge. Now it smells like a stale box, one that my brothers want to stick me in after cocooning me securely in bubble wrap. One of my legs is over the low sill before I consider what I'm doing. Splinters catch at my flannel pajama pants, but I don't let that hold me back. Jailbreak. I'm pulling a Shawshank Redemption. Only, as I sneak into the chilly night, I admit my route is much more pleasant than crawling through sewers full of human waste. Still, there's an element of danger. The moon sits high in the star-speckled sky, having lost one sliver that would make it full. The light it casts is enough for me to see the vague outlines of trees and bushes. There are plenty of shadows. Memories of a menacing growl creep from the recesses of my mind. I push the thoughts away. I'm only crossing the yard, not running into the woods. As I reach the bottom rung of the treehouse ladder, I make the connection I can't believe I hadn't before. Could the animal that scared me have been a werewolf? Is that why Warner was asking what it looked like? The idea brings on an uneasy chill that makes my fingers shake as I begin to climb. If I was being stalked by a werewolf that day, then that means I didn't accidentally stumble into the wrong part of the woods. Someone wanted me scared. Someone may have been planning on hurting me. And as I crawl through the entrance to the treehouse, another realization pricks at me. Climbing a tree might keep me safe from a wolf, but not a werewolf. The minute I stand, I know something is wrong. My bare foot on the old is accompanied by an ominous groan. A loud crack sounds. My whole world shifts. The calm night rends open with my terrified scream. Part 60 for Warner. Are you moping? I don't think I'd ever seen you mope before. Courtney plops down on the stool next to me, bumping her shoulder into mine and jostling my beer. I clutch it close to keep the contents from spilling before taking another swig. I'm not moping. I'm brooding. It's a good look for me. Right. I try to offer her my normal charming smile, but from her grimace I bet I didn't get anywhere close. What's wrong? No, wait. Let me guess. You could say that. Always bothers to have me feeling pissy. But it's more than that. I'm angry at myself. My first impression with her family is as a possessive asshole, practically begging to get into a fight. No one in this town, not even the people that know about the wolves and are scared of us, would use those words to describe me. I didn't know I could get that way. But the second I pulled up to her cabin and scented not just one strange man, but full, my hackles were up. Zoe and I haven't talked about mating, but that doesn't change the fact that my wolf is pushing me to lay claim. Then when that Neanderthal and Bram tried to keep her from me, I'm not sure there's ever been a moment when I was angrier. Somehow, I kept from lunging forward and ripping his arms off. But just barely. Does Zoe know how close I came to doing something she'd never forgive me for? A better man than me would take my overreaction as proof that I should leave her alone. Find someone of my own kind to be with. But no matter how nice I am, how willing to help my neighbor, when it comes to Zoe, I'm selfish. I want her. I want all of her. And I'll do a lot more than snap my fangs at anyone who tries to keep us apart. Yeah, that older one is a real piece of work. Made me take丨Moonlit back home with me just because Owie doesn't have a chicken coop. I mean, details. Right. Courtney waves for her own beer. So, did she break up with you now? Hell, I'd be in a lot worse shape if that happened. She just asked me to give her some time alone with her brothers, since everything was so tense, and she hasn't seen them in a few weeks. By the end of my explanation, I'm grumbling, like a spoiled kid denied his favorite toy. I can't help it. We've been away on a moon run, and all I wanted to do was curl up with my woman tonight after pleasuring her in all the ways I can think of. But no, I'm stuck at the rabbit hole nursing my second beer as the clock ticks past midnight. I can't even get properly drunk because I have to drive myself home. Sounds like you need to get on their good sides. Me? I growl. What about them getting on my good side? You should have seen the way they were treating her before you got there. Wouldn't even let her out of the house. She had to climb out a fucking window. Courtney answers, not committing to my side. So they're dicks. But clearly Zoe can handle them in her own way. Courtney flicks at something on my shoulder and I catch a glimmer of another glitter piece I must have missed in my shower. The memory of Zoe's method for shutting down a fight has me giving in to a reluctant smile. But Courtney isn't done. Still, they're her brothers, her family. What are you? My smile drops, and I can feel myself frowning. I'm her mate. No, you may not. Not yet. Courtney, normally just as carefree as me, examines me with cool eyes. Maybe not ever. The bar door swings open behind us, letting in the cool night air that does nothing to soothe the panic caused by Courtney's words. As I'm trying to formulate a response, a heavy hand claps on my shoulder. Before I turn to look, I recognize Raider's voice. Bearded man grimaces down at me, and I'm on edge. Raider isn't one to seek me out. Or anyone really for that matter. He's a seasoned member of the pack that keeps to himself. Tell me, any reason your lady would be with a bunch of guys? Is that it? Please let that be it. Zoe's brothers are in town. There's 4 of them. Big, blonde guys for the most part. Instead of giving me an understanding nod and walking away, my packmate only looks more disturbed. Thought it was her, but them fuckers were crowded so close around her. Didn't get a good look. What are you saying? To my agent extraordinaire, Marilyn Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. My wolf paces anxiously in my chest, setting my pulse pounding. We were riding through town and saw them take her into emergency care ward. My stool topples over as I shoot to my feet and sprint. Zoe is hurt. Part 65 Warner. I shift through the front doors to the emergency care, hating the sterile smell of the place and how it dampens Zoe's trail. The minute I pulled into the parking lot, I knew Raider was right. Zoe's here, and she's bleeding. A young nurse sits at the front desk, and her eyes widen at my abrupt arrival. I don't stop to ask her directions. The place is small, and I know exactly which way to go. Not another once, sir. It's already to the swinging doors that led back to the treatment area cut her off. The space full of medical devices sends me back to the night I revealed my true self to Zoe. I whisper a fear that the memory of the dead look in her eyes creeps through me. I thought I might have lost her then. Please tell me I'm not going to lose her now. Despite the place being empty of other patients, I can't seize Zoe right away. There's a human wall between the two of us. Where is she? Again, I'm coming at the Gunner brothers all aggression. The words low and rumbling with a growl I can't keep contained. 3 of them whirl around, clearly shocked by my sudden appearance. But Abram keeps his gaze on his sister, and with their turning I finally catch a glimpse of her. She's sitting up on the bed. That's where the good news ends. At the sight of her pained smile, my frantic anger gets pushed aside by my helpless worry. Before her family can decide if they want to keep acting the human barrier, I'm stepping between them, reaching for her. Only, my hands hover an inch away, worried about causing additional pain. What happened? She's covered in scratches, most just tiny abrasions, but there's a thick one at the base of her neck, and there look to be hastily tied bandages around spots on her arms and her legs. Bandages with growing red stains. The beginnings of bruises shadow her forehead, cheek, elbows and knees. One ankle has started to swell, and she holds one arm to her chest, the angle of it off. These aren't the signs of a small stumble. Whatever I missed looks to have barely gotten away without killing the woman I love. I love her, and here she is, broken and bloody from some mystery event. If I don't find out who or what hurt her soon, the violence boiling in my brain might find an unintended target. Could you hold this one? It doesn't hurt as much. Zoe offers her left hand to me, and I accept it, cradling her palm as carefully as I would a baby chick. Did someone attack you? A trembling starts in my chest, the product of barely contained rage. My wolf wants to break free and lay waste to the world. She looks surprised and confused. What? No, I fell. You fell. I finally tear my eyes away from her for a moment, only to give Abram the most disgusted, hate-filled glare I can manage. The excuse for her injures the oldest in the book when it comes to abuse. Gother or not, when I discover which one of these men had Zoe, he'll be lucky if I only kill him. The blonde man seems upset, returning my angry scowl with a tense jaw and helpless eyes. She did fall, and who the fuck helped her? Zoe snatches her hand back from mine, and I'm not surprised. I don't recognize myself in this moment. When I turn my head, planning to apologize for scaring her, a palm meets my face, but not in a slap, like I deserve. Zoe smooths her hand over my cheek, patting me. Calm down. I'm okay. Again. She gives me an attempt at a smile, but I can see her pain in the expression. I huff out a humorless laugh. Hell, you look like you got into a brawl with a wild animal. You are not okay. She trails her fingers over my face again, the tips of them tangling in my hair. Well, I'll be okay. It's just some bruises. A cut, too. All right. We've clearly surpassed the acceptable amount of protectors. A doctor whose name I can't remember speaks with a loud, commanding tone as he maneuvers between two of Zoe's brothers, rolling a tray in front of him that contains some wicked-looking curved needles. How often did she get stitched up before coming to Pine Falls? Because here it seems to be happening every other day. We have a very comfortable waiting room, and I'm sure Nurse Laura would be happy to brew some tea for you all while you wait. The doctor tilts his head toward the doors I recently burst through, and I spot the curly-haired nurse glaring daggers at me. Funny, before I fell for Zoe, I was much better at getting people to like me. We're not going anywhere, Abram declares, all the brothers nodding in agreement. The doctor, who I see now is wearing a name tag that declares him as Drive Briggs, doesn't seem intimidated by the blonde giant's glower. Yes, you are. This is my treatment area. And to give your sister proper care, I need you all out of my way. As Abram moves to argue, Drive Briggs holds up a staying hand. I'm not heartless. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gunnar can choose one of you to stay with her if she wants a companion. I'll stay. Her oldest brother says the words faster than I can think them. Just as I'm about to step into his space, Zoe slides her hand back into mine. Abram, she says, gaining his attention immediately. I appreciate the offer, but you're getting too intense. You're making me nervous. Warner is going to stay with me. A prideful warmth fills my chest. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Abram doesn't simply accept that. Part 66 Warner ran in 10th. That guy came in here ready to murder. Abram points at me. He's not wrong. Zoe frowns at her brother, then turns back to me. Warner, would you mind sitting in that chair? She tilts her head toward a seat next to the bed. Since it's too far away from her to keep a hold of her hand, I press a kiss to her thankfully cut, free palm before doing as I'm told. Zoe smiles at me, then gives her brother a more rueful version of the expression. I've asked all of you to chill out and sit down since we got here. Thank you for acting the hero. But right now I just need to be the one in charge of me. Abram stares between the two of us before releasing a frustrated, but resigned sigh. We'll be right outside those doors. I know you will. The brothers file out, all of them throwing glances back at their sister. Each one looks secretly concerned, which makes it impossible to tell who might have hurt her. Once it's just the three of us left, the doctor proceeds to disinfect her cuts. Zoe's lips press tight, going white around the edges. She's in pain, and I don't want to add to her discomfort, but not knowing what really happened is making my wolf turn rabid. Helpless anger presses against the edges of my thoughts. I move to the edge of my seat, scooting it closer and offering my hand, which she takes with her uninjured one. Can you please tell me what happened? Saying you fell doesn't explain all of this. I gesture to her skin, riddled with cuts, and her limbs that are possibly broken. Drive Briggs threads his needle. You can talk. Just try to keep still. This shouldn't hurt with the numbing agent. Zoe gives a nod before refocusing on me. When I said fell, I didn't mean I ripped. The sight of the metal piercing the skin on her neck tries to distract me from her explanation. I remind my wolf that the needle is helping her, just like when she got her arm stitched up. She continues, unaware of how close I am to losing it. My brothers were making the cabin feel crowded, so I went out to the treehouse. Every time I've been up there before, the thing has felt solid, but I guess it is a few decades old. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I climbed up, and the second I stepped onto the floor, my weight must have set it off balance somehow. The whole thing fell. And me along with it. Shit, I mutter. That treehouse is at least 15 feet off the ground. Maybe 20. I was right. She could have died. With my thoughts threatening to descend into a panic spiral. I'm shocked to hear her light chuckle. When I glance up to drive, Briggs meets my stare with a confused one of his own. As he pauses his stitching, "How does your head feel?" "Zoe," the doctor asks, "are you dizzy?" "Oh no." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I know this isn't a laughing moment. It's only she glances at me, biting her lip. Another giggle slips out, and it's the sweetest sound I've ever heard. "Warner, you still have glitter in your hair." That's what I know, without a doubt. Zoe Garnett is my future. Part 67. Zoe, I ache everywhere. But I'm alive. So there's that. Plus, I have Warner's warm body beside me as I hobble up the front steps. Really, I'm not that broken. Just a bruised ankle and a broken wrist. All in all, I came out okay. I choose to forget the number of stitches the doctor said he put in me. "Are you hungry?" Warner holds the door open for me while also keeping an arm outstretched in case I stumble. Bruce wanders out of the guest bedroom and is up to me. I scratch behind his ears, always comforted by the big dog's presence. It's 2 a.m. I just need to sleep. I smile at Warner, softening my rejection of his offer. "You heard her. Bedtime. We've got this." Abram comes in right behind me, sliding a hand under my elbow to lend his support. Normally I'd wave him off, but tonight I don't mind having someone to lean on. "I'll get you ice for your ankle." Carver heads to the refrigerator. "Did you have enough blanket?" I know we commandeered a bunch, but I don't need mine. Byron offers. Donovan keeps quiet, but his eyes are locked on each one of my movements as if he's ready to lunge forward if I tip over. "Zoe." Warner's voice has me glancing his way. "Do you want me to stay?" Honestly, I'm surprised he'd even want to with the overbearing presence that is my brother's. "She has us." Abram grunts. "Stop it." I shush my older brother. "I want Warner here." Just because Abram wants to take care of me doesn't give him the right to kick Warner out. I take back my hand, maneuver around the mastiff, and shuffle toward the bedroom. The mattress creaks as I sit down on it and my ankle thanks me for the relief. Carver comes in, holding a towel filled with ice, and Byron approaches holding his blanket. "Don't you dare put that on my bed. No way will I be able to sleep knowing you don't have any bedding." I wave a finger at him, but immediately regret how harsh the words came out when I see the lost look on my brother's face. They all share it, and for the first time tonight, I take a moment to imagine if it had been one of them who climbed up in the treehouse instead of me. How would I feel if I had found Abram or Donovan crumbled on the ground? What it would have been like to have to rush Byron or Carver to the emergency room. My brothers are tough, strong men. Plenty of rugby games have ended with them bleeding from some random gouges. But to see any of them truly hurt, my heart would break. I would physically ache for them. I would want to do anything in my power to take their pain away. That's all they're doing now, trying to ease my pain. And I love them so much. I get the urge to cry, just like I'm back in the treehouse, discovering the clues to my grandmother's loneliness. I'm lucky to be so surrounded by love, never having to doubt that there's someone who cares for me. Not when my brothers are near. Despite the pain in my leg, I push back up to a standing position and hold my arms out to Byron. He moves forward with hopeful eyes, offering the blanket again, but I don't grab the material. I wrap him in a hug. "I don't need another blanket, but could you make those pancakes I like tomorrow morning, with chocolate chips?" His arms encircle me, but stay loose enough to keep from irritating any of my injuries. Those are the ones. When I step back, he looks more centered. He has a direction. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Even if it's something as simple as making me breakfast, I hobble around the group, giving each of my brothers a hug before returning to the bed. Okay, time for some privacy. I need to change. My T-shirt is torn with polkas of blood all over it. After final goodnights, 3 of my brothers file out of the room, leaving only Abram, Warner, and me. She said privacy. The eldest gunner repeats, hard eyes never leaving Warner, who hovers beside my bed. Abram. The guy barely glances my way. Despite the swell of love I'm still feeling for my family, I am done with this caveman routine. Warner has seen me without clothes. I feel more satisfaction than I should when my tough older brother flinches and blushes. But I push on. When I said I want Warner here, I meant with me, in my bed. You're injured. You shouldn't be having. He trails off. And if I weren't so exhausted, I'd find this whole exchange hilarious. Don't worry. Banging is not on the menu tonight. Warner lets out a choked noise, and Abram's face gets a funny shade of red. Normally, I would enjoy sparring with Abram, assured that I could eventually get my way. But tonight, I'm too exhausted. I plop down on the bed with a groan. Then I discover that sitting up is too much work. After collapsing back completely, I stare at the ceiling and try to figure out how to convince my brother to go. Warner is staying. Go away. Abram, I love you, is the best I can come up with. There's a pause. Then I can practically hear my brother glaring. She needs to sleep. No trying anything. His heavy footfalls alert me that he's heading out. I half expect my bedroom door to be slammed shut, but there's only a gentle click of the latch falling in place. Warner's face appears above mine, a worried grimace on his mouth. Don't worry about him. I mutter. He's just being overprotective. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about you.